Hello, and welcome to another episode of Skari Stuff. This is episode 4. Let's begin. Oh, hello there. Oh, you kind of scarred me there for a bit. I guess we'll get started with episode number 4 of Skari Stuff. This is a segment on the channel where I get to chat to you. I get to answer your questions that you've asked in the previous episodes and dive down into a couple of different things. It's a chance for you to interact with me directly. If you don't want to send me a message, just leave a comment down below, ask a question. I try to get to them as soon as possible. And it's a chance for me to explain a bunch of stuff. Check out the other episodes, they've been really fun. So I do them about once a month, and this is episode 4. Okay, well, let's get down to the nitty gritty. A big shout out to all the patrons. We've hit our first milestone goal for the Patron page. If you're curious, check the link down below. There's a video explaining everything. No more ads on YouTube. So I've taken away all ads from future releases because of the support I've received from the patrons, which means I can start putting some money back into the channel, which is awesome because being on a tight budget with a family, that really helps the channel out greatly, so I can get more terrain, books to review, different army styles, and then of course there's perks and stuff, so it's kind of cool. So check the link down below on Patron. Okay. So, let's go for a couple of questions. Okay, so Victor Quesada, he asks, what is the opponent's army that you find easiest to win with Dark Eldar? And what is the army you find is the worst matchup for Dark Eldar, so the most difficult to win? Thank you very much for your question, Victor. The easiest to win with Dark Eldar, I'd have to say it's either Space Marines, like Space Marine bikers mostly, usually, or Terminators, because Dark Eldar have a high volume of shots, and you just have to force a lot of armor saves, and if they fail a few, it's just exponentially bad for them. Bikers especially, because they rely on high toughness, and Poison doesn't care for toughness. I haven't played against the new Ravenwing though, and those rerollable cover saves could be a little bit of a pain in the neck, but at least it wouldn't be as much of a landslide as it would usually. Monstrous Creature Tyranids, and I find Chaos Space, like Demons of Chaos, are a good matchup for Dark Eldar, just because, especially if they run lots of monstrous creatures, Poison just destroys them, and that can be a big asset while you're playing Dark Eldar. As for the hardest matchup, I'd have to go with Eldar with lots of Wave Serpents, or lots of high strength volume shots like Strength 6, because they just rip through everything the Dark Eldar has really quickly. Space Marine armies with a lot of assault cannons, and mechanized Imperial Guard. Chimeras are one of the most fantastic dedicated transports in the game, with Strength 6 shots from the multi-laser, Strength 5 shots from the heavy bolter, then you have Strength 4 shots from the heavy stubber, or you can put a heavy flamer on it, and that's even more dangerous for Dark Eldar up close. And then multiply that by the fact that they can have 10 chimeras, 9 chimeras, all in armor 12, which negates the value of the Dark Lance quite heavily. So those are the two different armies that I fear most and that I have the most fun against. Tau can be hard too, but if you play smart you can rip them up pretty quick. But thank you for your question, Victor. Okay. CSA Bipapo asks, what list would you recommend me for fun gaming which has enough unit variety? Thank you for your bits. You're very welcome, CSA by Papo. There's a video that I made recently about how to collect Dark Eldar. It just kind of goes from 500 points to 1,000 points to 1,500 points. Kind of like explains kind of like how a collector would just play Dark Eldar. But what list would I recommend to anyone who wants to start Dark Eldar? Well, I'd start with an Archon. I'd start with a unit of Cavalite Warriors. I'd start with getting a Venom as well. And then getting, Cavalite Warriors and a Venom, and then getting a second Venom, and getting 2 units of Venoms, and then an Archon. If you want to buy Witches, fantastic. If you want to go with Incubi, that's fantastic as well. They're all pretty good choices. A Razorwing Jet Fighter for fast attack, I highly recommend. I love the Scourge. Scourge are great. I've been using them more and more. And then a Ravager for heavy support, because it's a very versatile tank. And then from there, you can kind of go whichever way you want. Bring in Eldar allies, bring in more Coven units like Talos or Grotesques, or use a formation, or use Harlequins or Corsairs from Imperial Armor, and just kind of mix and match, really. The biggest thing I'd recommend is go for things you'd enjoy painting. If you enjoy painting them, you'll really enjoy collecting them. But thank you very much for your question. I really appreciate it. Okay. So, Christopher Sat says, just wondering, have you had a guide on how a humble beginner can attempt doing the Tantalus conversion? Oh, right. I haven't made any guides yet, or any sort of real... He's talking about the Raider I've converted to look like a Tantalus. It's inspired on the Tantalus from Forge World. It's got 2 hulls on it, and a deck, and the big enhanced sail, and the till, and the pilot. So I'll put a video up. I'll just kind of showcase it. I'll probably do like a before and after painting video, just to kind of, so you can see a little better, maybe explain how I did it in detail with the model itself. It's a little rough around the edges, but it's my first real conversion for the Dark Eldar that isn't like an ogre with bits and pieces to call a grotesque. But I'd really like to share it with you guys. So thank you so much for your question, Christopher. I really appreciate it. Okay. Michelle Portioli put a huge comment. Says, "Hi Skari. This day I've begun the second reading of Harlequin codex. They seems that everybody agrees that they're not competitive at all, and I just read some army lists that are based on Shuriken cannon, and the craft world is computed the same amount of Shuriken with firepower, less points. So do you think craft worlds are better, or Harleys are better for allies? I believe that there's a secret weapon in the Harlequins Codex that people have not seen yet." Harlequins. Great question. Thank you so much, Michelle. I really appreciate it. I haven't started using the Harlequins, but there's a lot of things that I really want to get started on using with the Harlequins. And one of the biggest ones is the use of hit and run on pretty much every single one of their characters. Now, the big downside I've found to the Harlequins Codex is that a lot of their formations and their detachment require a lot of points in order for you to take them. So you kind of have to be finicky with it. You can take a small cast of players, which is a unit and a Shadow Seer, but that small cast of players has to stick together and can't really separate, and you can't have the independent character go anywhere with it. So you can attach Dark Eldar allies to that unit, but you can't really split the characters off. Then the other one is the one where you have the 3 characters, a Solitaire, a Death Jester, and a Shadow Seer, or whatever they're called. And they can't join units. They have to be independent for the entire game. So you lose a lot of their benefits. So all in all, you're looking at a hefty point investment to really put them in. So I can see them shining a lot more in higher point value games. But in smaller point value games, I'm really looking to try the Death Jester mainly. I really like his ability to shoot an enemy, make them fail a leadership test, and when they fall back, I get to choose where they go. That is huge. I have not seen anyone taking advantage of that at all in any sort of competitive scene. But anything that isn't fearless should really be afraid of that. Like, I would be terrified, having your unit all of a sudden fall back towards a huge unit of incubi, or towards your Talos, or towards your grotesques, and just again get charged that same turn. So I really like that specifically. I think it's a very key thing, the hit and run and the Death Jester picking where the enemy will go. That control tactically is incredible, something that you should milk to the most of your advantage. But thank you very much for your question, Michelle. I will be using Harlequin soon as I get them built and painted. But thanks a lot. So those are the questions that I have for this Q&A. It was a small amount of questions that I got this time around, and not something that not as big as the last one. But if you have any other questions, you'd like to ask me anything at all, leave a comment down below. Read the other comments, like it if it's a question that you'd like bumped up, and let me know what you think. There's lots of things going on the channel. Planning on going to a couple of big tournaments, the War Masters Challenge, which is a singles tournament in Canada, in Kitchener-Waterloo. So I'm building an army because it's on a Sunday, I can actually go to it after work, or instead of having to work. And then the Michael Mudd Memorial Tournament is in October. I believe it's October. And that is a huge charity event that the Stratford Gaming Union runs in the name of a fallen comrade, a friend of ours who passed away, Michael Andrew Mudd. And all the money raised goes to support the local animal shelter. This will be the 7th year that we've run this tournament in his name, and we're expecting a huge crowd. Local tournament, it's about 40 to 50 people that show up for a singles event, which is one of the bigger tournaments in all of this part of Ontario. So I will be putting up some more information about that. Make sure you comment down below. We're on a quest to hit 8,000 subscribers for the channel before the end of this year. We're at 6,500. So like, comment, subscribe, share, show everybody that you can. I really appreciate comments. Thanks for watching, and this is Skari, your grateful host, saying that I wanted to say a huge thank you to every single one of my patrons. Now you get to see their names scroll up after every single one of my videos. They're the people who, it's kind of like an ongoing Kickstarter. They're helping out with each of the battle reports that I post. They're pledging $1, $2 to help the channel grow. The money goes to help pay for things like bandwidth for the internet when I'm uploading large video files. It's going to be going to help buying paint to help reconstruct my terrain. The next goal we have is to get some frontline gaming table or fat mats to really start making the production quality of the videos outstanding. Now, the better the production quality of the videos, the better quality content I'll be able to bring you guys for your entertainment. So if you have any sort of value of the content that I create, I highly suggest just go check out the Patron page. It's also a blog, so I'm going to be putting up blog posts and army lists and comments, and you can comment and like posts, and you don't even have to pledge if you don't want to, but I'm going to start using the platform a lot more, and I would really appreciate it if you checked it out. Now, one of the cool little perks of being a patron on the channel is I get to say your name in this video. So if you want me to plug in anything as well, let me know. I'd greatly appreciate it. So I have 10 patrons so far in the first month. We hit our first goal. Hannah, Hurani, Peter, Gunnar, Michelle, Ross, Martin, James, Rob, David, and Sal. Salvatore was the first patron for the channel, and he will ever have a special spot, being the first person to jump on board. Thank you so much for your guys' support. I greatly appreciate it. And this is Skari, your grateful host, signing off once again from episode 4. Skari out.